video, and this time I felt like doing something a little bit different. Someone in my comment section actually asked me to set up a Lamborghini for Bruno, and I thought it was sort of an interesting car track combination, and track conditions were going to be the 1st of December at 1 o'clock, and it actually meant the track's going to be quite cold, I should expect. So yeah, let's see how the car gets on. The kind of times we're looking for, I believe, maybe qualifying pace to be in the 58s, and we'll see what we can do on race pace, and we'll see what we can do with the setup as well. Bruno being a track with so many long sweeping corners that it really is going to give you some tire wear, but obviously with the track temperature probably going to be pretty cold. It's going to be a toss-up between the hards and the soft tires, so I'm going to see which is the better solution, which is the quicker solution, and yeah, let's get stuck into this. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to try and run a race simulation instead of doing it in practice, because in practice you start off with your tires really cold, so it's not the perfect way to sort of get a good read on how your car reacts in the race, because it's a little bit different. So I'm actually going to race the AI, and I'm probably going to try the hard tires just to see if they have any credibility whatsoever, because the track is really cold. So yeah, you can see probably having to move the tire pressures up first. I'm going to try and get them warm, because obviously with the temperature highs at the minute, it's going to be pretty tricky to keep them warm. And even though there's a lot of fast corners around here, and a lot of corners where you sort of balance in the car on throttle and it's sort of left right, so the tires should be able to get warm, but can they stay warm? And for me, as I said before, the hard tires in this game are definitely a lot harder than they used to be, so it's hard to sort of keep them in the right range, which is very important. You can see me playing with a camber, just trying to figure out ways to just generate more heat into the tires, but I know it's probably not going to be easy. And the thing is with the hard tires is just that even on the straights, you don't even realize it. If you go to a track that's say this temperature, or you go to Monza for instance, even if you just stop at the last corner and just drive down the straight in a straight line, the soft tires are faster in cool conditions because of how much grip they have on acceleration and everything. So it's pretty tricky, but with all these turns, I'm not too sure whether the soft tires are going to be able to sort of withstand the whole race without sort of killing themselves really. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. You can see me just going through the setup. I've made all alterations and changes already, just going through certain things. Some of these setups are loaded from other tracks that I've already done, and then I might tinker with it a little bit and see where I can sort of get the car. But I'm sort of aiming for 58s, I think it was, for quali, and I'm not too sure how fast I'm supposed to be in the race. Maybe a second and a bit off, or something like that. Hopefully can put in a good race pace, but I don't know. I actually haven't even done this track on this game yet. Bruno used to be a track I always did on PCars 1. I think I've been on this track once in an online lobby, and I dropped it almost every corner. So yeah, let's hoping we can do something better than the last time I was here, which was probably a few months ago now. But yeah, really haven't done anything on Bruno so far, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. There's my loaded and saved setups. I've just tried to tinker with different things, so if it doesn't work I can just try something else. So we're going to try the hard tires first, and we're going to see how we get on. Managed to get a decent start and pull away from AI cars, but AI cars are always very aggressive in the first few corners, and it comes apparent pretty soon, straight away. You can see understeer, pure understeer, that the hard tires they're just not going to work, because at the start of the race is where your tires are at their hottest. So if they're not working and they're at their hottest, then I don't see the hard tires working at all. So we're going to switch over to the soft tires and see what we can do. So now I've switched over to the softs, and yeah, and pretty much the hard tyres, it was never going to happen. You'd be struggling so much at the start of a race, and I think if other people are on softs, then you're just going to get dwarfed into the first corner. And straight away I could just feel the difference in grip. Straight away I could feel the difference in just turning. Like, you can see how aggressive the AI is, but yeah, I tried to get a good start and try to get away from the AI before they absolutely dive bomb me everywhere. And yeah, the car feels pretty nice. It's always important around here to be able to get that turn in without the back stepping out into corners, because so many of the corners are like trail braking. So yeah, it's pretty important. But obviously one thing to note with this track is quite a high altitude, so technically the cars that have the turbo engines should be quite a bit quicker. Just judging by how they are on the other tracks that are pretty high altitude, I think this track's about 400 odd meters, 500 odd meters above sea level, so they're going to have quite a bit of an advantage. And we've already seen at some of the other tracks like Bathurst and Red Bull Ring how big the turbo advantage is. So it might be pretty tricky to keep up with cars that have turbos, but I think with a good setup you can at least be sort of consistent. What I'm sort of expecting from the soft tyres around this track is for them to be sort of fast at the start, but I think lap times will drop off as the tyres get hotter and hotter, and you will come across more understeer, but I still think they're a better option than the hards. So it's just going to be something that you're going to have to deal with, and I think it's going to be something that everyone who's racing is going to have to deal with. Even though the track temperature is cold, I just feel like the corners that this track has, you're just going to build up a lot of heat in the soft tyres. So I wouldn't worry about if times start dropping off, but I think at the start of the race, that's where you got to sort of put in your hot laps, because that's when the car's going to be at its best. And then after that, I think you sort of got to, when you drive this track, you sort of got to just try and be as smooth as possible. And what I would suggest, especially if you're doing a race that's of some distance, say longer than 10-15 laps or whatever, is spend a lot of time off throttle through these corners, because you're going to need to tyre save, because if you don't, you're going to wear your tyres down. So you're going to need to be really smooth on your inputs and stuff like that, and just try and not sort of hack at the wheel. Try and just be as smooth as possible, sort of turn in once and try and just stick to that line and just let the car roll through the corners. I always found that to be one of the faster ways through this circuit. I'm trying not to attack the corners too much, but obviously sometimes you wanna hustle the car, but I feel like if you start ragging the car early on, you're really going to pay for it with tyre wear by the end of the race, and it could end up being sort of undrivable. So try and be as smooth as possible. So far it's been a pretty smooth lap, and I'm trying not to be too aggressive on the corner entry, and just play for exits. Just play for exits with this track. It's all about how quick you can get on the throttle out of the corner. Just be smooth on the way in, let it roll in, coast in, do whatever you got to do. Especially in this race, I wouldn't worry about trying to rag the car around here on the soft tyres, because I think it's a really tricky conditions they've actually picked. It doesn't seem like it. It just seems, well, track's cold, you can just use the soft spot. It's just the corners that this track has, really the soft tyres struggle. And I noticed towards the end of the lap that there is sort of a bit more understeer in the car, and even now, as you can see what sector times we've done there on the first clear lap, like a 2 minute almost flat, which I'm pretty happy with. I don't think it's too bad, but we'll have a look at the lap now, but I want to see how close we can get to that and how close we can keep that time, because obviously it's going to be pretty tricky to keep running them sort of times, and I'm expecting as the soft tyres warm up them to lose a little bit of grip, so we're bound to get more understeer is bound to come in. So we'll see how bad the car gets and how big the drop off is, and see where we can sort of find our regular pace after the tyres drop off a bit. So on our last lap, we made a mistake. This is actually a different session, but I did a pretty similar time. But I just wanted to see, as I said, how the car reacts after a few laps. I messed up the lap just before this one, but as you can see, we're almost half a second down. And I think this is probably more representative of where you're going to be lap by lap. If you can try and keep it consistent, I think maybe high 207s, maybe even a 201 flat. I wouldn't be surprised if you lost a second just on pure grip alone on this track. But yeah, as I said, you want to be trying to take it as easy as you can. We do a 2:07 there, which is about 6/10 down on what we could do. So I think if you can run 207s consistently, I think that'd be a decent pace. Trying to keep the tyres in, but you can see after 5 laps, you can see the tyres they're definitely going down quite a bit. I know I've got it set to 39 laps, but I've only got about 25 laps worth of fuel in. And you can see that the tyres are wearing pretty quickly. I've adjusted the tyre pressures to best suit the track in each corner, and just trying to keep the tyres in that 26 psi range, and hoping for the best really. But I did have to play around a little bit. Obviously I will drop the setup before the end of the video, but yeah, I would say if you can run sort of 2-minute laps or even a low 2-minute 1 laps consistently, then I think you should be doing alright. As I said before, this is a more suited to the turbo cars. As you can see, the back end comes round on us then, so that's what I mean by heating up your tyres. You can see we had a couple of moments before that where we had to catch the car a little bit, but as the tyres start getting too warm, that's the problem you're going to find yourself with. So you really got to be sort of gentle on the throttle. Even if you have to put more power ramp on so you don't spin up the rear tyres, you should try it. But I'm going to share the setup, and then I'm going to show you what I could do in quali. So this is the setup I've put together. The brake ducts, you might want to go up on the brake ducts for the race, but for quali, leave them how I put them. And to be honest, the car feels stable. Especially in quali, you want to feel like you can push the car through the corners. In the race, I think that you can take it easy and the car won't snap on you, which is pretty important. I did make a few alterations from what I had before, but definitely you're only going to get away with sort of a low engine braking like that when you've got soft tyres. But I mean, you can pull it on free just for a little bit more stability, but me, I like the car to turn in, especially with a track with this amount of corners. Also, if you feel like you're getting too much wheel spin, then you can always move the power ramp up. But yeah, this is the qualifying lap I managed to do, so check it out. So we got a 58.5, which I thought was pretty damn good considering the car doesn't have a turbo. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Qualifying setup should be able to get you somewhere up the grid. And yeah, the Lambo around here is surprisingly good. Obviously with the lack of front downforce, that the Lambo doesn't have a front splitter, so you can't sort of play with that. And in some corners you just wish it had just a little bit more turn-in, but you just sort of have to find the turn-in from other places, suspension and dampers and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, the car handles pretty nice. Not too bad over the curbs. Yeah, I can't really think of anything bad to say about the Lambo, to be honest. It's just in the race you're just gonna have to be very tentative and not push too hard earlier on, because I just think you're definitely going to suffer at the end. I think that the tyre wear is going to be a factor, even at these cold temperatures. Just a track like this really does, the soft tyres do struggle. So yeah, hopefully you guys like this sort of video. If I had more time I would have done a more in-depth sort of look at the race setup and stuff like that, but I just haven't got the time at the minute, man. But yeah, hopefully you guys like the video, so like and subscribe, hit the notification bell to catch my videos first, and you can watch the rest of the lap. Peace.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Kryptic TMG here. If you're already one of my subscribers but still want to show me more support, hit the PayPal donate button and donate however much you think my content is worth to you. Thanks for your support, thanks for watching my videos, and peace.